LUPEC meetup. LUPEC stands for Ladies United in the Preservation of Endangered Cocktails. There are ladies from chapters all over the United States and even Paris. There's a chapter in London. I'm with Kirsten Ament, who's from LUPEC Boston, one of our most active chapters. Tell us a bit about what you guys do.
Sure. So we are a group of women. There are 12 women in our chapter. We basically do three things. We have meetings once a month where all of us gather together and share classic cocktails, drinks from the past. We also we have a column in the local paper, and we have our own website, lupecboston.com. And we also do some fundraising events. We do large-scale fundraisers, which are big dress-up parties with a theme, and the benefits of all those parties go to charity.
So, they're a very active chapter. If you want to start one in your city, LUPEC Boston's a great one to get some ideas from. There are chapters all over the country, and if you're a lady who would like to start your own chapter, go to lupec.org to get some more information, and we hope to see you at the next meetup. Cheers! I have the great honor of interviewing Richard Paterson today, who is the master blender for Dalmore Scotch. Richard, you are not only an ambassador for this brand, but really for Scotland at large. I would like to start by asking you about Scotch itself. A lot of people say, oh, I like Scotch and whiskey, and they don't necessarily understand that Scotch is a kind of whiskey, and how does it compare with the other classifications of whiskey?
Well, Scotch whiskey must come from that lovely place, Scotland, and that's where we produce it. But we produce it from the four definitive areas of Scotland. I mean, when we look at a map of Scotland, what we do have here is the Highlands, the Lowlands, the Campbeltons and the Islas. And these are like individual people. They're all different in their own particular way. My job as master blender is to select them, to put them together. But when I come to the Dalmore single malt, that comes from one distillery over here, beyond Inverness, that is as individual as they come.
And where does the name Dalmore come from? Is it a family or is it a town?
No, Dalmore means big meadowland because many years ago the distillery was established in 1839 and they needed barley and they needed barley fields, and that's why Dalmore was called Dalmore, the big meadowland.
I would like to hear a little bit more about your job as master blender. What do you do? What are you blending?
My job as master blender is to create all the products of the company. That is blended whiskey, mixing the malts and grains together and producing great whiskies like the single malts like Dalmore. But it's not you just distilling it. What you have to do, like yourself, when you go home tonight, you put on a dress, you look fabulous and everything else, you feel more motivated, more stimulated. And what I must do with my whiskey, I must stimulate its body, its character, and I do that through, of course, the casks. American White Oak from the Ozark Mountain Range of Missouri, you produce the famous American White Oak, Quercus alba, and that gives elegance and refinement. But then I have to go to Spain, Jerez de la Frontera, and I buy my lovely Oloroso sherry butts. They'll contain about 600 litres, and all the different ages of Dalmore will be manipulated, stimulated by these casks, and it will produce little accents of different impressions on all of the different expressions I've got here today.
I'd love to jump into our tasting and start actually drinking a little bit of Scotch.
Okay, so can I just tell you to Nata, this is the Copita nosing glass. This is the glass that I use for assessing the whiskey. As you can see from the other glasses, it's quite different. But what I will say to all my customers, all my associates, and especially those who want to learn about Scotch whiskey, you must give it respect. So the first thing you do is to fill the glass with the whiskey. Swirl it around. What do you do with it? You throw it on the floor.
Oh my
so
goodness.
When you put it on the floor like that, that actually cleans out the lip of the glass and it's now ready. So then what you do is you go back to a second time, and this is the very important part. If I ever see you holding a glass like this and nosing it like this in any certain way, I'll have to kill you. And even when you go like this and warm it, balloon it, if you do that, I have to take 2 fingers and stick it in your eyes.
Really?
So what you need to do is to bring it up, and then you say, hello, and then you go back and say, how are you? And then you go back and say, quite well, thank you very much. You must get into it. It's like meeting you for the first time. How do I know? What I know about you? You're very beautiful. But what I need to do is to talk to you, communicate with you. And once I do that, your character comes out. Same with the whiskey. Then what you do, always make sure that you take it with a little water. As soon as you add the water, it opens it up. Then what you do is not knocking it back like a cowboy. What you do is you put it in your mouth like this. hello there. You open it up, you put it in your top of your tongue, then underneath the tongue, back in the middle, then let it go down. When you smell a whiskey, it's like your perfume. There'll be at least 26 different nuances in the perfume, and the top note will always be something there. And that's the top note for Dalmore is orange, citrus orange, marmalade and everything else. When you look at it and what you smell will tell you 96% of what you need to know. So when you just take a good, hold it there, I say keep it in the middle of the mouth, keep it in the middle, keep it in the middle, away from the tip, then underneath, then back in the middle, then swallow and then let it go down. Take a big deep breath. That's it, let it go down, here we go.
Wow, it does. My tongue went
Yeah.
right when you said
But you give it that sensation. Now this is a real baby here. This is the Dalmore 15 years old. This has been an American white oak for about 12 years. And then what we've done with it is that we've matured it in 3 styles of sherry wood, Amoroso, Apostolese and Methuselah. And this will in fact bring and enhance the whiskey. Once again, little water. But what you'll smell this time is softness, elegance, really coming through from the tangerines that are really manipulated by the lovely soft woods.
Yeah, more comes through after you add the water.
Yeah, it just opens up, and what you'll see the difference, very, very beautiful and very gentle. So this is really different. Very soft, very elegant, different from the 12. That's 50% American white oak, 50% sherry. This is now 100% sherry on the last finish.
Wow.
Let me show you this one here. This is another different one. This is a beautiful one. This is called the Grand Reserva. This is a beautiful Grand Reserva, and this is 60% Oloroso sherry butts to 40% American white oak. And this used to be called the cigar malt. So after you've had the cigar, after you've had the chocolate, should I say, you take a Hoya de Monterey Epicure number 2, Partagas number 4, you smoke it, and this will complement it with it. Once again, you'll see that lovely softness because 60% Oloroso sherry butts gives it that softness, gives it that richness.
Wow. That's
Very
really
big.
rich. Whoa.
Yeah. Very heavy
Ooh.
to begin with, and then opens up.
Wow. Delicious.
Right. Well, watch this one here. This is even something slightly better.
It's like velvety too. It's
Good. That's a really good
delicious.
description. Velvet, very sensual, very warm, and this is all to do with the maturation. I must stress this to you. This is all to do with the wood, the Oloroso sherry cask that make it happen. But once again, for the last one, this is something really special. This is the only single malt in the world that has actually been matured in not just 1, not just 2, but 6 different finishes. And what I do with this, I draw from my stock 1990 Dalmore. I put it in port, Madeira, Masala. Then I do Cabernet Sauvignon from Shadow Oak Marbouzy, and then I do American White Oak from the Knob Creek, and then I do back to the Methuselah.
Oh my
And
gosh.
these are all brought together. There's not a blend, it's a blend of these casks, but it's all Dalmore. And that's why we call it the 1263 King Alexander III. Because of course, King Alexander III, as the painting shows you here, was saved. This was painted by Benjamin West in 1786. And this shows you King Alexander III on the ground being saved by a charging stag from Colin Fitzgerald, who was the first chieftain of the Mackenzie clan. Because he saved the king, he was allowed to use the emblem of the stag on his bottle. But let me show you this, Natalie, in this beautiful style here. You don't need water because this is only 40% alcohol. But what this is like a chocolate box, full of lovely different flavors all coming together. The port, Madeira, the Masala, and it really is very, very innovative and changing all the time. There's something that will go on and on and on. So just keep it long in the mouth. 1990, you'll see the lovely nuances coming from the Cabernet, and of course the lovely port, Madeira, and the Masala.
So this aging and all these different kinds of wood, this is your creation. No
Yes.
one else does this.
No, this is the only one that we've ever created that's different from all the others. It's sourcing the different woods, but making sure they combine together. And this is something you need to sip and savor and make it all happen together.
Well, thank you so much for teaching us a bit about Scotch and about Dalmore.
Slangy bars, we say.
Slangy Vaz.